It's Pam Voth, and I'm back with Block 4 of the Spectrum Quilt-Along on Quilt Social. I'm completing my blocks using the fabric from the Delightful collection by Riley Blake. The block starts out by requiring you to cut 2-inch squares. This was new because I had been cutting 2.5-inch squares for most of the other blocks. So I had to readjust and think and make sure, and I read it a few times to make sure that yes, it is 2-inch squares, and you can see them sewn in the block. In quilting, precise cutting is so important. Your block goes together with matching corners and seams with a lot less hassle when you start with careful measuring and cutting. Creating the flying geese also results in the creating of the half square triangles that are also part of this block. You can see that the flying geese are large and careful sewing is required, like an exact 1/4-inch seam, in order to ensure that you don't lose the tips of your geese when you're sewing them in to the final block. I created the center block first, and then I added the flying geese to create the center strip. So that's where I began. And then I made the 4 squares. And then I sewed those onto the other flying geese. And then I carefully matched in order to create the final block. So then you can see in the end the X pattern that runs through in the contrasting colors. Block 4, again for me, really highlights the floral patterns in the Riley Blake fabric. And when you're using a fabric collection, you can put together any combination to create your block, knowing that the fabrics are going to all work together because they're part of a collection. A quilt-along is a great place for a beginner quilter to start, and I found this block in particular faster to sew, cut, and assemble, and so it was a bit of a confidence booster. Enjoy working with some beautiful fabric and practicing your techniques, and don't be afraid to use your stitch ripper. Taking things apart because you've made an error is part of learning and growing. Take a risk. Start today.